On December the 7th, 1988, an earthquake hit Armenia and destroyed about 1/3 of the country. And I saw it with my own eyes. I spent a lot of time there because I wanted to meet with the women, especially, because they were taking the brunt of it. And I was so impressed with their attitude. They were so happy to connect with we in the diaspora. And they just wanted to speak for themselves. They didn't want men to speak for them, you know? This was their wish, and I wanted to bring that back, and that stayed with me. And I had the good fortune that I met two sensational women, Labra Mergerian and Olga Prudian.
I had been the editor of the Armenian Mirror Spectator for many years, and in that position, I got to know a lot about the Armenian community. People would say, well, you know, you're doing the job, even though you're a woman. And, you know, this was really very interesting to me. The other thing is that I was a mother of two daughters, and I began thinking more seriously about the roles of women in society in general and the Armenian community in particular. So when I was invited to meet with Olga and Eva at one time, the three of us sat together and we talked about the need of having an organization of Armenian women.
Every time we get together, we want to do something for Armenian women of different backgrounds, different women who see different people sometimes. We want to get enriched by talking to them. So, of course, that is a dream of mine, and somehow, slowly, we started putting that dream into action. I even think that some men were saying, my God, what do we need another women's organization for? Oh, we do need a women's organization.
We want to bring people in. Bring them all in. We want all of the people. And then we had the different generations. We didn't have any stipulation that, oh, you have to be a certain age in order to become a member of A1. No.
Alice Myrak brought to us organizational ability. She was our parliamentarian in the beginning. She realized the value of networking. That was her big issue. Unfortunately, we lost Alice to cancer in the year 2000, but her family has been very supportive of AWA. They have put aside a room in the Armenian Cultural Foundation that they have founded for our Armenian Women's Archives. And we named the archive in memory of Alice Conley and Myrak, and so we miss her, but we remember her fondly. And the other person I want to mention is Agnes Messerian. Agnes was a professor of management at Bentley College. Agnes had an international focus. She was the chair of our first international conference in London. And really, that conference kind of laid the groundwork for all of our subsequent conferences. Agnes also had occasion to go to Los Angeles frequently, and she and her cousin gathered together Armenian women in the Los Angeles area and got them interested in forming an affiliate. And the Los Angeles affiliate really was a strong supporter of our London conference and has been a strong supporter of all our efforts, but particularly the international conferences ever since then.
My very first activity was the London conference that I attended with my aunt. As someone who works in an international setting, it was very appealing to me that we had a group of Armenian women who had the courage to go across the pond to have an international conference.
When you come to an AWA conference, for example, and we've had a number of them every 3 to 5 years, we have international conferences. They are electrifying. You really bring women from all around the world. They come into one place, and the high level of voltage is fabulous in terms of ideas and excitement and meeting people, connecting Armenian women with a common purpose of identifying the strengths and interests of these women and linking them to one another globally is something that I don't believe any other organization on earth does.
We met people in different cultures. And every time we met those people in every country we left, we always came back more enriched and more empowered because there's more of us.
We had a conference in Argentina, and when I was there, I was amazed at all of the women that came from all four corners of the world that I never, would have met otherwise.
We had 3 generations many times on our conferences that we'd have. And you know what? And the men were getting a little bit jealous. So we said, come along. There's room for you too. We didn't shut the door on the men. We said, come join us. And they did.
There are so many areas that AWA has been involved with over the years, but one of them is encouraging women in Armenia to become entrepreneurs.
The Women's Entrepreneurship Program is a program that AWA created, which is housed at AUA in Armenia, and it is a high-impact leadership program for women, and the trainings are in both English and Armenian. And over the years, the trainings have taken place in rural villages as well as in Yerevan. And so women have to apply, applications are submitted, interviews are conducted, and each semester a handful of women are chosen, and they engage in leadership training and classes on things such as entrepreneurship, simple things such as developing business plans, onto more complicated things such as looking for funding, things of that nature.
We try to provide them with the tools to get loans from banks, put together business plans, hire people, maintain a payroll, find businesses that will flourish in whatever skill capacity that these women have. If you can help women empower themselves economically, you've empowered them in all ways, and you protect them from the forces that are working against them. Another area that we're very involved with is that we are an NGO, a non-governmental organization at the United Nations, and we have been for a very, very long time. And every few years we give panels where we have women that identify issues that are of particular interest to women across the world, but the United Nations is focused on. This ties in with our focus on, for example, women who are victims of domestic violence. We have a big program that we've partnered with in Yerevan on domestic violence, and we had supported smaller programs throughout the country before.
The issue of domestic violence was raised by one of our participants, and she was actually talking about domestic violence among Armenians in Los Angeles. And when she started talking about that, the women from Armenia got up and said, Amot, meaning it's not something we talk about. Whereas our young women who were there were jumping up and saying, oh, finally we're able to talk about this.
This is a growing issue in Armenia because more and more women now really feel in Armenia they need to speak out to defend themselves in a culture that tends to hide and minimize the effects of that. We have actually published 12 books, not just retranslations, but all of our conferences, our major conferences, have led to books.
Most recently, we published the English translation of works by the Armenian author Zabel Yasayan.
This, I think, is going to be one of our greatest legacies, to bring back to life the voices of these strong, highly intelligent, courageous women who had such deep insight of their culture and the role of women and what women could do and weren't allowed to do. We have been giving out scholarships to Armenian women, both for graduate and undergraduate work here in the United States and in the diaspora, because if a woman is educated, she's more likely to be self-sufficient and empower herself, not only economically, but in all sorts of ways across her life.
To be honest, I didn't know much about AWA. But then I started asking around, and I've heard so many fascinating initiatives done by AWA in Armenia. and I heard personal stories. So I started looking into it more and more, and I decided to apply. So you can imagine my surprise and happiness when I got it, because I really had no hope that any organization will end up supporting me financially.
When you're a young woman graduating high school, navigating through college, there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, I think it's rare that you know right off the bat at 15 or whatever what you want to do. And I think what AWA can do in this process is be kind of a sounding board for young women, college students to reach out.
I think it's really important that even the younger generation be involved in AWA, because we're all Armenian and we should all really support each other in this world. We're few, but we are a talented nation, and we as women should really support each other.
I think it's important for young women to feel supported, to feel like there are connections that they can make and rely on, that people understand them. And that's part of what I like about AWA, is that you and everyone else understands what it is to be a young woman, a young Armenian woman. What are the values we have around family, around faith, around women's issues, around culture. These things just enhance the experience that I have professionally.
The reason we want us to stay connected and broaden our reach is for the next generation of young women right behind us who have been in the education system, about to step out into a professional career, or maybe slowing down a bit. Because really, as you look into AWA, we go across generations.
Technology, I think, is where we'll be able to reach more people all over the world. And as we grow and evolve, we could be having webinars, and with all the conference call capabilities through TVs and Skype, and this is just the beginning.
One of the things that we're doing in AWA's future is creating a global network. The technology has gotten so much better and so much less expensive, but it's not free. So we are hoping that more people will join so that we can increase our reach around the world.
For me, the most important, appealing aspect of AWA is it enables me to go beyond the Boston community that I live in, and to be able to interact with women in Armenia, women in Argentina, Los Angeles. There's no borders.
We are creating an online database so that people can network professionally and personally. So it's wonderful for me to have a conversation with a young woman in Armenia who's benefited from our Women's Entrepreneurship Program, but how much better is it for her to connect with our whole AWA network? It doesn't take that much money, but knowing that there's some support there financially, and even more than that, a whole worldwide community that cares what women are doing, it makes an important change in people's lives.
And when you know who you are, it helps you establish your role in the entire world and how you treat other people and what you seek is your vital interest. And AWA will continue to provide a place for these women to come and congregate, whether it's a real place or it's a cyber place.
The biggest thing that AWA did for me is restoring my faith in my community and actually building it, because in Armenia I've never seen this kind of support from any organization. And now an organization that has a chapter in Armenia, but it's international, without knowing me, without knowing who I am, they support me and they say, go girl, chase your dreams.
One of the most important goals as we look forward is how do we connect our members to each other across time zone and borders? Because as Armenians, our numbers are few, our strength is powerful, our talent goes deep, so can the connections. Can you join us?
We really need to keep growing and continuing our work, and that is done by people joining as members and donating to our organization. We have a lot of things that we do for free, and we're happy to do that. We are an educational organization as well, but like any other nonprofit, we need people to support us. So we hope that they'll continue so that we can continue to grow and report back on all the great work that we're doing.
the organization is getting stronger, and we're going in the correct direction, and which makes me very happy. You know, coming to my age now, I can't believe what I've seen. I can't believe that I've seen all this happen with my own eyes. You know, and that makes me happy that AWA has come of age.
It was wonderful, 25 wonderful years. And look at all the other friends that we made.
I know, and we've done so many things over the years.
Yeah.
And the best is yet to come, right?
We've learned from each other, I think.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. It's going to be great.